not too late to join these women out here. You're a woman too. Don't let the NRA use you, Dana, as a pretty face to sell guns to men.
All right, that was one of the protesters protesting against the NRA, specifically against Dana Loesch, who has appeared in a, some would say, controversial ad for the NRA, and Dana Loesch joins us now. Okay, Dana, you were in that commercial, which we've run many times on this program. The protesters are now going after you. It's not too late for you to join them, they say. I want your response, Dana.
Well, it's so good to be with you this morning, Stuart. Thank you. First off, that clip that you showed, yeah. that is the height of sexism. I don't need to be mansplained by some progressive male at some protest and be condescended to by some man who believes that women apparently are not evolved enough to appreciate and enjoy the shooting sports or exercise our Second Amendment rights. You know, we had the right to vote, to bear arms. We had the right to bear arms before we had the right to vote. And you can come have that out of my cold, dead hands. Now, that being said, Stuart, you know, this march it's silly because they don't really have a clear, concise message. They're mad about what? They're mad about that my participation with the NRA. It's not a video that at all advocates for violence. To the contrary, it explicitly condemned violence. And furthermore, one of my lines in that ad says, until the only option left is for the police to do their jobs and end the madness. Now, I don't know if it's truth that triggers progressives or the idea of respecting police and allowing them to do their job that triggers them. But you know what triggers me, if we're going to have that conversation, is to see peaceful protest conflated with violent riots and peaceful expression conflated with burning down buildings. The only people who need to worry about my ad are the people I called out, the burning buildings people. Everybody else, we're cool.
I think your ad, we put it on the air as soon as you'd made it, because I saw it and I picked up on it and put it on immediately. I think it had impact because you were straight at it. Actually, you went on the attack, and that's not something that we're used to. Most conservatives, most gun folks, Second Amendment people, they're always on the defense. But in that ad, you went right out there and stuck it to them, and that's why it stood out. And that's a mark of your success with that ad.
Well, and you are spot on, Stuart, as always. That ad came to fruition because we had so many of our members, millions of members in the NRA, and so many of them were worried, legitimately concerned about the violence that they saw as being mainstreamed by mainstream media's coverage of it. And I know you remember in Washington, D.C., the riots that took place, and in Seattle and Portland, at Berkeley, in Chicago, and the way that media reported it, our members felt as though they were attempting to mainstream. Oh, we'll hear people protesting again, and the language that they use to describe it. That's not peaceful protest. Our members know what peaceful protest is. In fact, I think most Americans do. But it's this violent group that is trying to agitate on the left that want to conflate that, and that's what this ad speaks out against.
On the subject of sexism, Jane Sanders is calling the investigation into her alleged bank fraud sexist. She says it's an attempt to destroy her reputation in order to go after her husband, Senator Bernie Sanders. What's your response to that, Dana?
I don't know. Does she have a reputation left? Her involvement with Burlington College is pretty shameful. And, of course, I know that Bernie Sanders has this great so-called legacy, I guess, of going after the millionaires and billionaires, of which he is one. How many homes do they own? They own 3 homes. Didn't they just buy a lake house as well? She's irresponsible. She was irresponsible handling the affairs of this educational institution, and it shows because they frittered away money and they had to close, and now here she is legitimately being investigated. And it always amazes me how when women on the left, when they actually do things that are worthy of investigation, they cry sexism. But yet they're silent when conservative women are attacked simply for being women, and yet that isn't sexism. That's interesting how it doesn't merit that same response. Look, do no harm, there won't be an investigation.
We like both sides of the debate on this program, and you're one side, and you're answering the debate, and we like that. Dana Loesch, everyone, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.